10 minutes of jokes.
I like how Christians name their children with names out of the Bible, with meaning. Names like Peter, Paul, Mary, Martha, Daniel, them kind of names there. Good names. But I notice no one ain't naming their baby Jezebel. Tell me if this would ever happen in your church. So I was visiting a church. It wasn't my church. And the preacher was preaching, and this man just walked from the back, just went straight up to the preacher and said, "Me can sing a song." So I think, huh? So this man next to me it's like, him not look like Christian. So I'm not saying he's a Christian or he's not a Christian, you know, but why? You can't just give any and anyone the mic like that. So the pastor said to him, "What are you going to sing?" So the man said, "I'm going to sing about the cross." So the pastor said, "The cross, give him a mic, give him a mic." So they give the man the mic, give the man no, "Many rivers to cross." The pastor just take the mic off him, run him, say, "Come off the stage, man, you take Christian for you, idiot." So I remember growing up and I used to always get beats. I was one of them kids that used to just always get licks. And my friends, they used to get beat as well. But when I used to talk to them, they used to tell me we get beat with belts, you know, sticks, you know, all different stuff like that. But I only ever used to get beat with bottles. And I couldn't understand why. But then one day, my grandma took me to the supermarket and we stood at the aisle where the bottles were. And I was standing there nervous. I'm thinking, what have I done? Have I done something wrong? Did I clean my room? And she said to me, "What does that say above the aisle?" And you know, above every aisle, I noticed it says like, I don't know, groceries, soap powder, tin cans. And over the one with the bottles, it said liquids. So she said, "You see what that say?" And I was like, "Yes, Grandma." She goes, "What it say?" I said, "Liquid, Grandma." She goes, "That's right. Everything in this aisle you can get liquid." One of the most memorable prayer requests I ever heard was when I was visiting this church. It wasn't my church, and I was reading out the prayer requests. And there was basically saying that this person was going through a situation where like gas cut off, electric cut off, water cut off, Netflix cut off, Sky TV cut off, internet cut off, basically everything cut off. And they were saying that they came downstairs one morning and this woman, she must have find her husband kneeling down with his head in the oven. And she had to say to him, "Stop, farm fool, man. You know, the gas being cut off for 3 weeks now." So my pastor said to me that he's got a role for me in church. And I'm like, I'm not really looking for position in church, you know, but anything I can do to help, I would just, you know, I'll just do what I can and try and help out. So anyway, he said to me that it's a new role. It's not a role they've done before. And they're experimenting, that he wants me to be the church scooper. So I'm like, scooper? I didn't even know what it was, but I thought, you know what, you know, I'm here to help, man. Anything I can do to help. So anyway, in the church now, you walk in the church, you see the picture of like the pastor in the foyer. You've got a picture of the pastor, church and pastors council, deacons, all the ministers, men's leader, women's leader, youth leader, and all that kind of thing. And then right at the very bottom, they got a picture of me, and underneath it, it says scooper. So I'm like, all right, I'm the church scooper. So anyway, still didn't know what it was. Come Easter, they had baptism, and pastor gave me this like bamboo stick with a little net on the end. He said, "What I want you to do after the baptism, I want you to scoop out the pool." So I'm like, all right then, cool. You know, like I say, I'm not preferable to position or anything, but I'll do anything to help. When I tell you I scoop out this pool after the baptism, and I get 3 eyelash and some edges. And I'm saying to myself, somebody really a walk around with 1 eyelash. Some of you may not know this, but Harry Kane, the footballer, went to Jamaica. Now, I wasn't aware of this, and I didn't see anything about this in the news. But yeah, apparently that's the case. So me and Brother Brown, lovely guy in our church, really friendly, really nice. You know, he told me about it because he's from Jamaica, and he says that basically Harry Kane went to Jamaica and took all the chickens, and I'm thinking, nah. How's Harry Kane take all the chickens from Jamaica? It's like, may I tell you, man, him come to Jamaica and him take all the chicken. I'm like, eh? But he's insistent. And I'm saying, well, how come I ain't heard none of this on the news or nothing? I went on Google, everything. I can't see nothing to do with this. But he's telling me this happened. So I'm not saying he's lying. You know what I mean? I would never say that. And I don't think he's that kind of person to lie and tell a story like that. Do you get what I'm saying? But apparently he's telling me that he did. And I'm thinking in my head, could it possibly be true? In my head, I'm thinking, you know, I remember when I was younger and there was a time when I'm sure it was someone like Madonna or someone went to Africa and come back with kids. And I'm thinking, I wonder if it's something like that, but the story's just not fully there, you know, one of them ones. Anyway, he's doing it's like a deeper. He said, nah man. He goes, hurricane come over the sea. And take out all the chicken them and take off all the roof. And that's when I realized this man ain't talking about hurricane. This man's talking about hurricane. So I went to visit this church. It wasn't my church. I went to visit a church and they had a guest speaker. And I don't know if you've ever heard a preacher preach like fire. Like the preaching was so fire. Like I was just gassed. I come out of the church, I was just gassed, man. Like this man was talking about how he's blessed and how the blessing just follows him everywhere he goes. He says, I don't pay full price for nothing. When I go to buy shoes, I walk in there, when the woman say, this is the price of the shoes, I just tell her, say, I'm not paying that because I'm blessed and the blessing follow me. If you can't change the price, call me the manager. The manager come out, said it works every time. They just reduced the price. He said, oh, when he went airport, he went with 3 big luggage bags. He put the first one on, it was overweight. He tell them, say, don't worry about it. Put the second one on, it will level out. They put the second one on, that was overweight. Him said, don't worry about it. Put the third one on, it will level out. They put the third one on, that was overweight. Then he said, boy, it's too late now, them gone through. Yo, I left church. I was on fire. I said, I ain't paying full price for nothing again. This blessing must come follow me too. So I went straight to the petrol station, you know. And when I say I fill up the tank, I fill up the tank. I know I ain't paying full price, you know. Listen, when I show you now, I went to the counter and the woman said the price to me. I said, I ain't paying that, you know. Come bless. You're going to have to change the price. He read to me, I can't change the price. I said, if you can't change the price, get me the manager. Bridging. Well, I've just finished my community service. You know how much hours of community service they give me for that? This man got caught in Jamaica stealing a tin of tomatoes. One tin of tomatoes. Imagine, you're in a country where mango and fruit and everything's growing on tree, and you're going to go to the shop and thief a tin of tomato. Are you crazy? The judge stand up and said to him, I don't even know what sentence to give you. The man's just looking at the judge like, huh? So the judge said, you know what? How much tomato was in the tin? Hear the man to the judge. Me don't know. After me, I'm no profit. The judge is like, you ain't taking this thing serious. You think this is a joke. You think you're a comedian. So, all right then, Mr. Comedian, since you don't know how much is in the tin, you had an idea of how much you needed, otherwise you would have stole 2, 3 or 4 tin, but you felt like 1 tin of tomato was enough to suffice. So here what? How much tomato do you think was in the tin? Here the man to the judge. About 4, Your Honor. So the judge said, all right, 4. We'll work with that. I'm going to give you 1 year for each tomato. 4 years. What? Lick down his thing. The man turned around and said to the judge, good job me put back the bag of rice. My Rasta friend tried to tell me Jesus has got brothers and sisters. And I'm telling him Jesus ain't got no brothers and sisters. If Jesus had brothers and sisters, I'd know about this already. But he's insistent. And the thing is, he knows a lot about Rasta and Rastafarianism. And he knows a lot about the Bible as well. But them time there, I didn't really know anything about the Bible or Christianity. But all I knew was I'd never heard Jesus had brother and sister. Anyway, he was like, all right then, let's go and see the Pope. So I'm like, the Pope? I said, all right, I'm going along with it. Anyway, went to the Vatican. Pope wasn't there. But I don't know if you know, outside the Vatican, they've got like a grass area. And he started pulling out jerk pan and start jerking chicken and that outside the Vatican. I'm thinking, boy, I can't take this man nowhere. Anyways, jerking up the chicken, jerking it up outside. Proper hot day and everything. So boom. As we're there now, I just heard this noise. Pa-pa-na, pa-na-pa-na. When I looked, I seen an entourage of cars. I was like, yo, Rusty, Pauper come, the Pauper come. He's just there like, I know nothing, just, frying, Rose doing his thing with his chicken. I said, I tell you the truth, I ran off, I left him, and I hid in one bush. But I could see everything that was going on, you get me? So I didn't fully leave him, but, I just said, you know what, I'm not standing around here. Anyway, I'm watching from the bush and I seen the Pope get out the car, walk up to him and go like this. get in his car and drive off. So I was excited. I run out the bush, run back up to him. I said, Ras, you're blessed. It's like, what you mean? I said, you're blessed, man. You never see how the Pope just come put blessing upon you. Him said, bless? The Pope not bless me. He said, the Pope not bless. Him begs. The Pope said, you see you? Take your chicken and your friend who are hiding at the bush and get out of here.